Welcome to Awake and Activate. Today we're going to talk about the pineal, the pituitary, and the hypothalamus gland. These are natural chemicals. We're going to talk about DMT, also a natural makeup that is within our system, and how many people utilize this very substance for a consciousness breakthrough. We have our third eye, and this is part one of the third eye activation, getting to understand what is in our physical body that is representative of this activation going on that initiates us into higher levels of consciousness.
Pineal, hypothalamus, and pituitary glands. The pineal gland is a pinecone-shaped gland found in a groove between the two lobes of the brain. It is only about the size of a grain of rice and is pinkish-gray in color. The pineal gland produces a hormone called melatonin whose main function is the regulation of the wake-sleep cycle. The pineal gland receives cues about the amount of light in the environmental, and these cues trigger the pineal gland to produce melatonin. This melatonin instructs the body to make adjustments in temperature, blood pressure, alertness, and other biological processes to facilitate sleeping or waking. Melatonin secretion peaks at night and ebbs during the day. The hypothalamus is a gland about the size of a grape found in the central brain. It is part of both the neural system and the endocrine system and has two functions. Its primary function is to maintain balance within the body system. It does this by receiving nerve messages from the brain, translating them into chemical messages, and relaying those new chemical messages to the pituitary gland. The pituitary receives these messages and in turn sends other chemical messages to the endocrine organs. In this way, our bodies are able to respond to sensations we feel about our surroundings without over or under responding. Like a thermostat, the hypothalamus uses a set point to regulate the body's systems including electrolyte and fluid balance, body temperature, blood pressure, and body weight. It receives inputs from the body, then initiates compensatory changes if anything differentiates from this set point. The set point can migrate, but remains remarkably fixed from day to day. For this reason it is considered the control center of the endocrine system. The second function of the hypothalamus is to manufacture the hormones needed to send these messages. The pituitary gland is about the size of a pea, and is located in the center of the brain behind the nose and eyes. It is attached to the hypothalamus by a slender stalk through which it receives chemical messages. The pituitary is sometimes referred to as the master gland, because it directs the main hormone-producing glands in the body. The pituitary controls hormone functions such as temperature, thyroid activity, growth during childhood, urine production, testosterone production in males and ovulation and estrogen production in females. It does this by using hormones to send chemical messages to the other glands.
So what is the hypothalamus' function? The most important function of the hypothalamus is to link the nervous system to the endocrine system via the pituitary gland. It synthesizes and secretes certain neurohormones, often called hypothalamic releasing hormones, and these in turn stimulate or inhibit the secretion of the pituitary hormones. What does the pineal gland do? The pineal gland is best known for the secretion of the hormone melatonin, which is released into the blood and possibly also into the brain fluid, known as cerebral spinal fluid. The body's daily clock controls the production of pineal melatonin. So, melatonin is commonly used in human research to understand the body's biological time. There is a rhythm to the biology of the pineal gland. This next part of this presentation, we're going to be looking into DMT. Now, I've never tried it myself. I do not condone, nor do I condemn. To each their own. But what I did find in the research is that our body naturally makes DMT within it. So I found some information I'm going to share with you guys. I hope you enjoy it.
1. DMT is the simplest psychedelic and exists in all of our bodies and occurs throughout the plant and animal kingdoms. It is a part of the normal makeup of humans and other mammals, marine animals, grasses and peas, toads and frogs, mushrooms and molds, and barks, flowers, and roots. 2. Compared to other molecules, DMT is rather small. Its weight is 188 molecular units, meaning that it is not significantly larger than glucose, the simplest sugar in our bodies, which weighs 180. 25 years ago, Japanese scientists discovered that the brain actively transports DMT across the blood-brain barrier into its tissues. I know of no other psychedelic drug that the brain treats with such eagerness. This is a startling fact that we should keep in mind when we recall how readily biological psychiatrists dismissed a vital role for DMT in our lives. If DMT were only an insignificant, irrelevant byproduct of our metabolism, why does the brain go out of its way to draw it into its confines? For, once the body produces or takes in DMT, certain enzymes break it down within seconds. These enzymes, called monoamine oxidases, MAO, occur in high concentrations in the blood, liver, stomach, brain, and intestines. The widespread presence of MAO is why DMT effects are so short-lived. Whenever and wherever it appears, the body makes sure it is used up quickly. 5. The pineal gland, which is unique in its solitary status in the brain, in that all the other parts of the brain are paired, may be where DMT is produced in the human body. The most general hypothesis is that the pineal gland produces psychedelic amounts of DMT at extraordinary times in our lives. 6. The pineal gland of older life forms, like lizards, is called the third eye and has a lens, cornea, and retina. As life evolved, the pineal moved deeper into the brain. Finally, the human pineal gland is not actually part of the brain. Rather, it develops from specialized tissues in the roof of the fetal mouth. From there it migrates to the center of the brain, where it seems to have the best seat in the house. 7. The pineal gland becomes visible in the developing fetus at 49 days. The Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches that it takes 49 days for the soul of the recently dead to reincarnate. And 49 days, Strassman wrote, is nearly exactly the moment in which one can clearly see the first indication of male or female gender.
We're going to leave this one off with consciousness. We've already talked about how there's physical representations for the pituitary, the hypothalamus, the pineal gland. We talked about DMT being a natural substance that is found in our body, melatonin, all different kinds of hormones, what each of these glands do in combination. So now let's talk about consciousness. Consciousness, at its simplest, is sentience or awareness of internal or external existence. Despite centuries of analysis, definitions, explanations, and debates by philosophers and scientists, consciousness remains puzzling and controversial. It's a being. We're just being at one of the most familiar and most mysterious aspects of our lives. Perhaps the only widely agreed notion about the topic is the intuition that it exists. Opinions differ about what exactly needs to be studied and explained about consciousness. Sometimes it's synonymous with mind, other times it's an aspect of it. In the past, it was one's inner life, the world of introspection, the private thought, imagination. Today, it often includes some kind of experience, cognition, feeling, or perception. It may be awareness or awareness of awareness or self-awareness. There might be different levels or orders of consciousness or kinds of consciousness, or just being one kind with different features. Other questions include whether only humans are conscious, or are all the animals, or even the whole universe. The desperate range of research, notions, and speculations raises doubt whether the right questions are even being asked about consciousness. And we're going to get further into opening the third eye. Is our third eye open? Signs that will show you if it's already opened or if it's opening. So you guys, stay tuned, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful day.